The X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and for the next 4 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we will cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, Digital Satellite Network, and on iHeartRadio. And you can watch the X Zone TV show exclusively on the X Zone channel on Simul TV. My first guest tonight, X Zone Nation, is Mike Murphy, and Mike is the best-selling author, speaker, coach, and consultant committed to helping people around the world manifest their deepest dreams. He is also the author and creator of the Creation Frequency, a project that distills the best lessons he's learned over 30 years of trial and error in an easy-to-use online course and book. Joining me now is Mike Murphy. And Mike, welcome to the X Zone.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it.
So tell me about the Creation Frequency.
Yeah, so this was it's like the law of attraction, but
right.
I'd say on steroids. It's a way to manifest into the physical reality anything you truly desire, using the typical way of writing, a little more dramatic way of writing intention, but then using sound to bring it in and use the power of your own voice. And so this was taught to me way back in 1982 by a man that I reference in the book as the mystery man, because when I went to write the book, I couldn't remember his name. I now know that it's Doug Fitzgerald. And basically, I was a 25-year-old man going nowhere fast,
right.
And no education, no future, no credit but bad credit, no money, and a ton of bad habits. And I'm in a 12-step program, and this guy looks at me and says, "Hey, man, your life is a mess." And so when a guy in a 12-step program says your life's a mess, it's pretty screwed up. But he said these words to me, "I might know someone that can help you," and that turned out to be Mr. Fitzgerald. And when I first went to his house to work with him, and it was $50 an hour, he said to me, "You come here 1 hour a week for 7 weeks, and you'll get everything that you truly desire in your life." And so we began this process, and he taught me how the law of attraction really works. And so the step number one was to write an intention as if it already exists, because there's no difference between imagination and reality, because everything we imagine usually becomes our physical reality. And then, so after 6 weeks, I have 6 different intentions, and he believes in balance. So he covered 6 areas of my life, and I wrote a powerful intention around each area. And then on week 7, this is 1982, remember, I'm going to date myself, he brings out a boom box, and in the boom box, he puts theta brainwave music, and then he brings out a tape recorder and hands me a microphone, along with a relaxation script and my 6 intentions, which he had me record onto this cassette tape. So I left there 7 weeks later, $350 poor, with a cassette tape that had 6 powerful intentions on it, which all came into my physical reality in a really fast period of time. So I became a believer. And then I spent the next 30 years creating a beautiful life, and then something happened that I want to share this with people.
All right, so how did you feel leaving his house 7 weeks later, $350 that you spent, and all you're holding in your hand is a cassette?
For some reason, he instilled a little bit of hope into me, into my life, and I just, for some reason, I had a feeling that this would work. Now, let me tell you why it was so painful. 2 years prior, I'd walked out on my wife and my 2-month-old baby daughter, and we ended up getting divorced because I'd been a runaway my whole life, and so I decided to run away from them. And then, like typical runaways, a week later, I wanted to come home, and she said no, which my parents never said that. But I was in a lot of pain. But my first intention was to reconcile with this woman that hated my guts and my daughter, who was two years old at this time. And so I wrote this intention: Lisa and I are so happily married. Our daughter, Michelle, thrives in this marriage, and a few more sentences along those lines. But imagine I listened to that every morning, every night for a couple of years. And then after a couple of years, she called me up and asked me to take her to a Christmas party, and we ended up getting married 6 months later and having 3 more wonderful children. So that's just one example of one of the intentions that came into fruition.
That is powerful, Mike. That is powerful. And congratulations to you and Lisa and, the wonderful family that you've got. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Mike, the secret, people for some reason bought into it right away. People I talked to said, well, you put the picture of, let's say, the house that you want on the fridge, and you look at it and you will it. But one of the questions that I had to all these people who never gave me an answer was, well, don't you have to work for it? Don't you have to participate in making that happen?
Yeah, without a doubt. And see, so the problem, the secret has some good things in it, but the way I see people with the law of attraction and manifestation, they oversell it and they don't properly present it. And so most people fail, they give up, they don't get it. So along with the book, The Creation Frequency, I also created a very powerful online course that people can take. Yeah. And it really goes deep into the science behind this. The law of attraction is ancient teachings. I mean, we're going back to Christ and beyond.
Sure.
And what I love about, what quantum physics has brought to the table is really proving what all these ancients taught. And it's such an exciting time to be here in physical body and to experience this. And so I think people, once they understand the science, but there is no free lunch, okay? Everything in life takes action or effort.
Exactly.
And here's the problem with United States of America people is we live in a microwave, environment. We want it now. We don't want to wait. Well, guess what? Here's how nature works. If I plant an acorn, I'm going to wait for that oak tree. That's just the way it is. And so we've kind of lost touch with reality, I believe, And so we got to understand it takes a little bit of action, a little bit of effort, and if you understand the science, because you need to understand the science, because it all comes down to a belief system. That's where the power is. If you believe this is going to work, it's going to work. If you believe it's not, it's not. But you got to give it a little time.
There are two not mantras, but trains of thought that were embedded in me as a child. Number one is, if you confess it, you will possess it. And number two that I learned on my own was, the only difference between a dream and reality is working to make it come true.
Exactly, in a little bit of time.
Exactly,
But there is a power in what I love. What I love about the world today. Okay, people say, well, how do you know there's an unseen world? Okay, well, I just talked to someone in China in live time. You tell me how that happened, or I just downloaded a 300-page book in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So there is an unseen world. There is a vibration of frequency and energy. I really love Tesla and what he taught us. That if you want to understand the universe, you have to understand energy, vibration, and frequency, because that's all you and I are.
Yes.
There's so many misconceptions. For example, right now, people listening to us think that I'm speaking words. I'm not. My vocal cords are moving air molecules. It's now going through this phone, into your phone, into your ear drum, and into your mind, and where this vibrational frequency sound is getting converted into language in your mind. I'm not speaking it. You're doing it all in your head. And so when we understand certain things, and another powerful thing I really want people to get is right now your subconscious mind, my subconscious mind, is taking in over 1 million bits of information every single second. Wow. But it only delivers to our conscious mind 40 bits of information because that's all our conscious mind can handle. So how does it choose the 40 bits out of the 1 million?
That was my next question.
Okay, what it thinks we want based on our self-talk, our talk to others, our desires, our thoughts, and so if we're walking around all day, I'm a loser, I always lose, I'm a failure, nothing ever works for me, that subconscious is looking for 40 bits of information every second to make that your reality.
So it's like it's like when you put something up on social media, the little bots, the programming, they look for these little analog things to connect to you, so that when something pops up somewhere else, it says, hey, wait a minute, Rob was interested in this. I'm going to bring this information in front of Rob.
Right. So yeah, and there's a physical name for it in the physical world as well, and that's the reticulating activating system, right, in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I say I start thinking about buying a Toyota, for example,
right,
and pretty soon all the cars I see on the road I see all the Toyotas that I didn't see before because it's focused. And see, here's the deal about manifestation, Rob. We've been doing it since we came out of the womb. Okay, first thing we did is manifest how to get someone to feed us and change us.
Right.
And then we learned how to crawl, and then we manifest walking, and then talking, and then social. But here's the whole thing. Okay, we don't do it consciously.
All right, we're going to have to take a
break. That's what I'm trying to teach people.
All right, let's hold that thought, my friend. Exo Nation, my special guest this hour is Mike Murphy. His website is www.thecreationfrequency.com. The Creation Frequency. Create the life of your dreams. Mike and I will be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV. Plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com.
excroniclesnews.com.
Exonation, my guest this hour is Mike Murphy, but before we get back to Mike, whose website is www.thecreationfrequency.com, the New Age Chronicles is now available online at www.newagechronicles.com, and it, like the X Chronicles newspaper, is with our compliments because we want to make a positive difference in this world that we live in. It's free. Share it. Here are the two websites. If you're into the paranormal, parapsychology, science, physics, quantum physics, the website is www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com. That's XCHRONICLES newspaper.com. And if you're into the New Age shamanism, alternative health, alternative thinking, that is the New Age Chronicles at www.newagechronicles.com. Mike Murphy is our special guest, www.thecreationfrequency.com. Mike, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing this this fascinating information with us. And why is it, Mike, that here in the year 2018, we are just looking back in time and saying, hey, you know, the ancients had this right all those years ago? What took us so long? What took us so long for the light to go on, Mike?
Yeah, well, I think something went wrong in the program somewhere along the line, and I think all the truth got taken from us. And whether it was the library in Alexandria, I don't know, but somewhere along the lines, the programming here switched, and the powers to be, whoever they are in today's world, they're pretty good at divide and conquer and getting us to fight each other, so they don't even have to worry about us. And so it's interesting times. But what I love about what's going on right now, the old way, the cabal, I see them kind of falling apart and kind of in a panic mode and don't know how to put this animal back in the bag, especially with this global debt and all these derivatives. And so as I see that falling apart, and it's not good because, you know, there's all these wars and, you know, things, and one level, things don't look too bright in the future. But on a spiritual level, what I see is a lot of awakening. I see people that have finally have eyes to see, ears to hear, and the truth is exploding all around them. And we're getting back to those ancient teachings, and we're getting back to understanding how food is our medicine and not all this other stuff we put in our body, and then how we have to learn to meditate. But most importantly, my biggest message is we have to help one another. We have to take care of those less fortunate, and we got to start raising children in a community, not a dysfunctional family.
Wow, well said, and I couldn't agree with you more. You know, this is here we are, you know, the age of high technology, instant communication. You know, we're spending billions and billions of dollars, in my opinion, on stupid stuff. And there are homeless. Yeah. There are hungry people. Yeah. You know, and I love how you put it, where we need to work together, and that is so true. Why do you think? Where did society go wrong, in your opinion, Mike?
Well, you know, this fiat currency and this money. I mean, we're you know, the debt is really out of control. But just think about, okay, so we're born into a medical system, right? Mm-hmm. And we're placed into a family system. Then the family system places us into a religious system. And then we're an education system, and then a social system, and then a political system, and then a financial system. All these freaking systems. And what do human beings want at our core? Freedom. Okay, so we're all, from get-go, you know, from the moment we have our first conscious thought and we're leading our way into kindergarten, there's already a disconnect from reality and what's in our heart and our soul. Okay, and so now this confusion and this chaos is everywhere, and I think what's going on right now, I think the internet kind of backfired because I think that was going to be the ultimate control mechanism for humanity, so that a few can rule the all, and I think the truth started to explode, and now people are waking up, and now we're really at a crossroads, if you ask me, and we'll just see what happens. It's going to be fun and interesting. The way I see it.
Well, you know, I agree with you, Mike, and I was wondering if you could tell us about the Love from Margot Foundation that you started in 2012 in honor of your late wife, Margot Murphy.
Well, I appreciate that.
Go
yeah,
ahead.
so I
Sam.
have to be a little forthcoming here. So yeah, Lisa and I got remarried. We had 16 beautiful years together, and we had 3 more kids, and we had it made. My life was perfect. I'm the last person on earth ever getting divorced. That I could promise you. The happiest day in my life was when I married her for the second time. So here I am running a Chevrolet dealership, and this woman walks in to sell me Hispanic advertising on Telemundo, and which I go for. And for 7 months, we're working together, and she's falling in love with me, and I don't know it, and I'm falling in love with her, and she doesn't know it. And then one day we compare notes, and so we started a relationship, and Lisa and I got divorced, and so I fell in love with Margot. And 9 months into this relationship, and she was 15 years younger than me, I find a stage 3 tumor in her breast.
Oh, God.
And so for 9 of our 10 years together, she fought breast cancer and then finally passed away in 2011 at the age of 38. And so the Love from Margot Foundation, this woman totally changed everything about me, my heart, my soul, and primarily before her death, taught me about love, but in her death taught me the real meaning of love. And the way she approached death, she was given a six-month heads up that she was going to pass. And the way she approached it, and when she took that last breath, the peace and the love in her heart and her soul, and how prepared she was forever, changed me in one regard. But also, when someone close to you is dying in their terminal, you always think you have one more day until you don't. And then when that day came, you think I'd be prepared, I wasn't even close to being prepared. And out of this utter, complete despair, grief, devastation, God or Creator or whoever was able to finally come into my heart and fillet it open and take out all the self-centeredness and all the BS and just replace it with love. And so since that moment, that's what my life's been about, is through a lot of turmoil. I work with women with cancer now, so every time there's a death, I get a little reminder of what's going on here. But it really changed my life, this woman, and so that's what the Love for Margot. So we work with women in the Bay Area below the poverty line while they battle cancer. And then our newest project, 2 newest projects, but the newest one here in Oakland, we're opening a community center to service the youth here in Oakland and teaching them the Creation Frequency, so that we're going to teach them how to fish rather than give them fish. Historically, I've been giving women below the poverty line while they battle cancer financial grants, but it lost its appeal after a few years because they just get sicker and die.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was just wasting money. So then I started giving them water purifiers and juicing machines, and then they thought I was their doctor, which didn't work for me. And so as far as those women are concerned, now we're building a healing retreat center in Medellin, Colombia for them. And then we're building this community center here in Oakland for the youth, and trying to make our little difference in our little corner of the world to change this consciousness of one of love and service to rather than take and greed and selfishness.
I understand you also mentor troubled youth.
Yeah, so we're teaching them. We have 12 interns starting next month in June here in Oakland, and we pay them to come in there. We're going to teach them computer skills. We're going to teach them broadcasting skills, how to use a camera, how to social media post and all that. We're also going to give them the online course for the Creation Frequency for free, give them the book and teach them that. And along with the book and the course, we also created an app on iTunes and Google Play where people can download the app and record their intentions in a recorder that's already embedded with high-frequency music, theta brainwave music. So it's very simple for people to get this process and to use it.
Is your high frequency something like the hemisync?
Well, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to get the brain, that's a great question, but we need to get our brain functioning. The problem is most of us are always living in the left side of our brain in a beta state, and we're never conscious. We go,
Yeah.
and we're never conscious of what's really going on. And I believe who we really are is consciousness, awareness. And we're the one watching all this crazy stuff. But we get caught up in it thinking that we're the story, right? And then we lose touch with our real essence, who we truly are. And I feel that's the secret, is to get into move from our head to our heart. I tell people all the time, the longest, hardest journey that I believe each and every one of us must take is 18 inches from the head to the heart. Unfortunately, most people don't take it till they take that last breath, and they die with their music still in them.
Wow. Does it take long to change? First of all, God bless you for the great work you're doing. I think that's just wonderful. When you see the people, the ladies that you're helping, and when you see the youth that you're mentoring, do you see especially with the youth of today, do you see these changes take long, or once they're given the opportunity, once they are given the tools to work with, that these changes happen rather fast?
It's different for everybody. It's really about how wounded we are. How many wounds did we get as a kid? I just read this new book about Tiger Woods, and the wounds of his childhood, caused, and you see all his wounds coming into the physical reality as an adult, right? And so, through the Love for Margot Foundation, the last couple of years, we've put 3 kids through heroin addiction, and each one got it at their own pace. One kid had 3 slips, one kid had 2 slips, one kid had 1 slip, but they're all doing well right now. So, leverage. It's, unfortunately, most of my life, anytime I have something really powerful to learn, I learn it through suffering, right? And so how much suffering can someone handle before they're going to wake up and pay attention and do it the right way? So everybody's different.
I look at my life, and there have been many what people would call failures, but I've always looked at them as lessons to success.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like who I think it was Edison said, he goes to invent a light bulb and he fails again. They go, oh, you failed again. No, I found 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb.
That's right.
Okay? Every time he got a little closer. And one of my favorites, I think, it was the 2005 commencement speech at Stanford.
All right, we're going to have to hold on to that because I've got to take
Go ahead.
my news break. Please stand by. Mike Murphy is our special guest this hour, Exo Nation. www.thecreationfrequency.com, and Mike and I will be back after the news. Don't go away.
From our broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, to the world and beyond, you're watching the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
AVS Media Den.
You have heard of the X-Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another.
Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
www.thecreationfrequency.com is the website of our very special guest this hour, X-Zone Nation, Mike Murphy. And Mike, you have to be one of the most giving people I have ever had the pleasure of talking to. So thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you. But I want to share one thing with you.
Please.
I think that's the biggest blessing, that when people give, they'll realize the greatest blessings of their life. You cannot outgive God. And, the more you give, the more you get.
Well, what's that old saying from the Bible? It is better to give than to receive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's, and yet, but here's I think the real secret. Either do it anonymously or do it quietly, but do it with a pure heart and a pure intention, and then just look out for all the blessings that are going to come from behind.
I agree with you. I've seen that work myself. Personal knowledge.
Yeah.
It does work.
Perfect.
You were talking about the 2005 commencement speech before we had to go to the news break.
Yeah. Steve Jobs, Stanford University, he said, "It's by looking back on my life that I can connect the dots." Like he thought getting fired from Apple was the worst thing that ever happened to him when it happened. He didn't even know if he could keep going. But by looking back, that led to this, that led to Pixar, that led to going back and being the hero at Apple. So sometimes, in the moment when things are going bad, we freak out and think it's bad. But who says it's bad? And, one of my favorite movie is Silver Linings Playbook. Like in everything, there's always a silver lining. Of course, when my wife died, I thought that was the end of my life. I didn't want to live anymore. And I struggled through that. It wasn't easy, trust me. But it made me such a better version of myself going through that pain.
What are the steps, the baby steps that someone needs to make, listening to us tonight, who is saying, my God, everything, I've got nothing. There goes an amoeba over my head.
Yeah.
What words of encouragement or wisdom can we share with them, Mike?
Yeah, well, first I'd say sit down with a piece of paper and a pen and write down everything that is going well in your life. And, whether it's health, whether it's whether you can see, whether it's your fingers still work, because I promise you there's millions, if not billions, of people worse off than you are. Okay, there's always somebody worse off. And so find something to be grateful for and start with an attitude of gratitude. Okay, and now ask yourself, well, if money wasn't an object and I couldn't fail, what would I want to do with my life? What makes me, like when I'm going to bed and I can't sleep because I'm so excited because I'm going to be doing something the next day. I can't wait to fall asleep and I can't wait to wake up and jump out of bed. What is that? Okay, now take that, and you can't fail and money's no object. What would you be doing with your life? Let's start there. Okay, now once we get there, if it's too unrealistic, let's chop it down a little bit and let's make it realistic. And then let's just write a little simple intention of what it's going to look like when that's fulfilled in your life. So for me, I had no job, I had no money, I had no career, I had no education, but I wanted to own my own business.
Right.
So we write an intention that I want to own my own business. I am flat broke. I got nothing. Okay. Within 3 or 4 months of writing this intention, an idea hits me, a thought, and where does that come from? I can't take. The problem is we want to take credit for our thoughts. We take credit for the good ones. We blame the bad ones on someone else. But where do thoughts even come from, right? So I can't even take credit. But a thought arises. Put an ad in the paper and get the money. Okay, so I do, and I get my own business, right? And so now I know how to do that for the rest of my life. So I've owned my own business ever since. And so it's really about getting that desire. Okay, really connect to that desire, and then create an intention that what it looks like when it's fulfilled. And then I believe in writing it and recording it and speaking it, because, it's interesting that the Bible and the story in the Bible is that the Creator created this. He spoke the physical world into existence using sound. Okay, so there's a lot of power in sound. And so I speak my intentions now, whatever they are, and they always sound crazy, but they always come true one way or another. Sometimes they're better than I intended. Sometimes they might not be the exact manifestation that I wanted, and it might be not as sexy, but it's more stable. It's better for me because I believe I'm co-creating my life with the creator of all. And whether that's true or not doesn't matter. I believe it. And by believing it, it works for me.
Especially since belief is the strongest power in the universe.
Without a doubt. Yeah. That's everything. No matter, I work with sick people, right? Mm-hmm. And when we have this center in Colombia, right? So we're going to detox the cells of the body. But remember, those are 50 trillion living, conscious, individual cells working together to create this thing called a body that houses our heart and our soul so we can have a physical experience, right? But we're going to detox that. And while we're detoxing it, we're going to put really good stuff in for those cells and get them really healthy, vibrating at a very high frequency. But then we're going to work on the psychology. What are you thinking in there? Okay, we're going to get clear on that. And if there's toxicity in that thinking, we're going to get that out of there and instill. You're going to take ownership of your brain. Here's the problem with most people, and this problem with me for a long time. You get a lousy thought, right? That creates a lousy feeling. And what do? We do something to get rid of that lousy feeling. It might be drugs, it might be gambling, it might be promiscuity. Whatever it is, we want to escape that lousy feeling because that's what at the end of the day, what do we want? We want to feel good. And so now that creates a lousy life. I say, hey, let's move to the heart now and let's live from there and let's get our desire from there. And then let's use this thing that we think is between our ears called a brain, and let's use that instead of it using us to create a plan to bring our heart's desire into the physical reality. And when we start working like that, it's so much easier to bring what we truly want into our life.
Have you found in your experience, Mike, that people, instead of starting off small, want to start off too big instead of starting off small and then growing?
Yeah. So the other problem I see with all the other law of attraction teachers is anything's possible. Well, on one level, yes, it is, okay? But let me put it to you like this. I'm 60 years old, and if I write an intention, I want to play quarterback for the 49ers next year, that's not going to get through my conscious mind into my subconscious mind, okay? Right. We have to deal with this physical reality, the world of the five senses. Now, could I write an intention that I'm going to work with the quarterbacks there, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that? Yes. Okay, but we have to create some reality in some of these intentions, and that's where people get discouraged because someone comes on Facebook or on TV and says, you can create anything you want in your life, just do that. Bullshit, excuse me. You just can't. It's not that simple. One of my favorite books is M. Scott Peck's The Road Less Traveled. Mm-hmm. The opening line is, life is hard. Yeah, life is hard. The problem with us is we don't think we should have problems, okay? We live in a world of duality. You can't have good without evil. You can't have success without failure. Exactly. It's just the way it is.
Because we live in a binary existence. Good,
exactly.
Bad, left, right,
exactly.
In, out.
Exactly.
It's...
But you know what? All that exists in the mind. In the heart, it doesn't. In the heart, there's just love and compassion. Okay, that's the difference. And in the unseen world, where we come from and where we return to, okay, I don't see. Here's what's interesting. I've really been studying this a lot. Right?
I can tell.
So it's an electrical universe, and we have an electrical body. We're a bioelectrical computer body. Okay, and so think about what is electricity. You have to have positive and negative.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can have this physical reality without good and evil. That's what gets it. But what we have to do is we got to shine. Right now, there's much more darkness than there is light. So for those of us who want to bring light into this world, we have to shine our light more and more and more and share and get this darkness to, at least reside to the corners of the world and not take over the world.
But I'm sure there are many people who do not understand that they have to take an active part in making the change. The change will not come to you. We used to have psychics on the show, and I used to take call-ins. And you get the people calling with, is my life going to change? No, is my love life going to change? Am I going to meet the love of my life? Am I going to get this new job? And I'm going to get my... Finally, it came to a point one Friday night when I'd have the psychics on. I said, my God, you don't need a psychic to give you these answers. You need a lesson in life and to look in the mirror and ask the person on the other side these questions. And that's the last time I had psychics on, taking calls.
Well, but you want to know why I think, Rob? They create victims out of us.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody's a victim nowadays, and everybody's got an axe to grind. It's black versus white, Christian versus Muslim, gay versus straight. Give me a freaking break. We are all one big human family. Okay, we need to love and support the differences in each one of us, and create a community and take back our power. I'm paying 60, 70 cents out of every dollar to taxes. There's so many hidden taxes. I just bought an airline ticket, $900, right? And then another $300 in taxes. I just stayed in a hotel, $700, but another $150 in taxes. We are being taxed to death.
Yeah.
And so, but we got to get rid of this victimhood. We either all. There was some great rock and roll singer said this. I don't know who.
Oh, yeah.
We're either all victims or none of us are victims. Choose. Doesn't matter. Pick your poison. But take responsibility for your life, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions. And that's the thing. People don't want to take responsibility. And there's no shame in being a loser anymore either. So, I grew up, I'm 60 years old. I grew up here in America, and, now I live half time in Colombia. And I see the contrast, and I see how this went wrong, and I see how that they're trying to right the ship down there. And everything is patterns, and everything is, ups and downs. So right now the U.S. is going down, Colombia is going up. That's just the way it works.
Mike, this is our final break we have to take. This hour has just flown by, my friend, so please stand by. We have another 12 minutes together. Exonation, if you'd like to find out more about Mike, visit his website, www.thecreationfrequency.com. And also check out the Love from Margot Foundation. They do fantastic work. Please, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And do you really want to be an ostrich? No, you don't. You want to be part of a solution. And I agree with Mike 100%. That we are all part of this wonderful, great, big world together. Let's get back to the way it was in the ancients. Let's get back to being a family unit. We'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
The new nonfiction book, Razor of Madness, is similar to cult movies like Clockwork Orange, Dragon's Tattoo, or The Other Side of Hell. Wayne Morin Jr. and Thomas Lee Howe will expose widespread and systematic deficiencies in this thought-provoking tell-all novel. Mind control rages among scholars in law schools. Human rights are ignored while thought reform and mental manipulation are accepted practices used as behavior modification. Dr. Louis Jolyon West comes to mind. Media and public scrutiny shows that United States mental hospitals are in fact destructive murder industries. Razor of Madness expose novel details this epidemic through an in-depth professional and personal investigation. For decades, there has been a revolving door policy that still releases killers and pedophiles back into society. The maestro of mind control continues to haunt America to this very day. Razor of Madness is available in paperback or as a downloadable ebook at Amazon.com.
I'm William S. Peckham. If you enjoy a good mystery with a touch of the paranormal, then you'll love my novel, From Out of the Woodwork. It's the story of a young Toronto contractor, Sean Kennedy, who buys derelict homes, guts them, and turns them into multifamily dwellings. Slums just waiting to happen. When Sean buys 29 Livery Lane, the house fights back. Former owners unexpectedly come out of the woodwork as he starts the destruction. The apparitions come to him when he touches old books, reads hidden letters, rummages through old boxes, finds a locket, or reads a discovered manuscript of a murder mystery. From Out of the Woodwork will take you from 1899 to the horror of the World Trade Center, September 11, 2001. Check out From Out of the Woodwork on my website, www.williamspeckham.com.
Exonation, Mike Murphy is our special guest this hour, www.thecreationfrequency.com. First of all, Mike, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, sharing your story, and for helping those who need help. You're a special guy, pal.
My pleasure, Rob. I've enjoyed it.
We talked to you about Love from Margot Foundation. We've talked to you about your book, The Creation Frequency. Tell me about Mountains of Hope.
Yeah, this is my new exciting project. It's a beautiful 20-acre farm outside the airport in Medellin, Colombia, 7,000 feet in the air in the Andes Mountains. We grow our own vegetables there. We have our own water. So we've only had about 4 retreats now in the past year since I've owned it. I'd say we're about a year away from now we're building out some new things. We're building the clinic. We're building a pool and a jacuzzi and a Watsu. And so, but when it's fully going, it's going to be just an amazing detox center. So all illness is toxicity. And if we're talking about physical illness, it starts in the gut and it leads to inflammation, and all illness comes from inflammation, and our body starts to break down. So it's a serious detox where we're going to detox your gut, and we're going to really, really get in there and just get all the junk out of you, and at the same time put in good stuff that your body needs. So get the cells really, really healthy. And that's week 1, and it comes with a lot of stuff like massage and breath work and yoga and meditation and colonics, and it's really for people that can handle it, it's a distilled water fast. If they can't, we go vegetable juice. If they can't do that, we might do a vegetable broth or something like that. But we treat each person individually, and we'll have full blood work up before they get there. We'll know exactly where they are nutritionally. Of course, we'll know if they have any health issues that we need to address. So that'd be week 1. Week 2, we really get into the psychological and the brain and how the law of attraction works and how their thoughts can empower them or disempower them, and how mind over matter really is a thing, and how you can create illness in your body just the way you think, or you can create great health and great wealth by the way you think. And then we start moving into the emotional area. Almost every illness is related to some sort of emotional wound that we get that we never deal with. So we keep that stuck. If it's an energy system, which it is, and you get that energy stuck, well, it's going to cause physical ailments, and that's what happens. So we do all those things, and then we also will bring in like sacred plant medicine and do sacred plant medicine ceremonies, and we do like sweat lodge ceremony and meat beast ceremonies, a lot of spiritual work in week 3. And then in week 4, we move into silent meditation. And we end week 3, all this spiritual work and all these ceremonies. For those that can handle it, we bury them in the earth, just their face exposed, and they spend the night that way. Or if they can't handle that, we put them in the woods in a tent. And if not, we just let them stay in their room by themselves without their roommate. But we want to really get people, most people suffer. They can't go into a room and just be quiet and be still, especially the way it is in today's world. TV, movies, Netflix, internet, social networks. Whoa, my goodness. We want to slow everything down and get in touch with our essence, who we truly are. And then we spend like 3-4 days in silent meditation, and then we start preparing them to go back into their reality. And so I'm so excited about this. I believe that we can take people that are suffering and really bring health, no matter what the issue is.
How much of the illness and how much of the negativity that you see, Mike, is caused by not the physical intake, But this psychological intake of negativity, like the internet, like the news, like all the negativity that people are subjected to.
Yeah, we get stuck in it, and then we lose our power, and then it starts controlling us. It starts controlling our thoughts and our feelings, and then our actions. And people get stuck either playing video games all day, or I was guilty of this for a while. There's so many alternative news sites and that really address what's really going on in the world, like the wars and the pedophilia and the elite and the blah blah blah. And you can get sucked into that. It's called fear porn. And you can get into that, and it puts you in such a bad space if you don't balance it out. So I really think that especially emotional wounds and not forgiving people and becoming bitter really is not good for the physical body. And then you couple that with the thoughts, are just the same thoughts. I think there's only like 10 thoughts people have all day long, all 8 billion of us. But we have them 1,000 times over and over and over, right? So, it's pretty fascinating, the human condition.
Let me ask you this simple question. I think it's a simple question, especially since you're the person who's going to be answering. Why is the creation frequency so important in today's world?
Because we need to change things. And I really, really believe that if we don't start changing them right now, I have 4 kids, I have 5 grandkids. And my kids cannot create the wealth and success that I created. It's impossible. It doesn't exist. And that's really hard to say and sad to say, but it's true. I started with nothing and I made a lot. And you can't do that in today's world. There's too many big corporations that run in the show. And then taxes. You could never get ahead of the game. Secondly, I lost my train of thought. Tell me again the question, Rob.
The question was, why is the creation frequency so important in today's world?
Yeah. So yeah, we got to change what's going on, and we got to take our power back, and we got to get this world fair. I just read this thing the other day. Like some poor guy working for UPS is walking 11 miles a day, okay, because he can't afford to buy a car. Then the workers at UPS find out, and they chip in and they buy him a car, right?
Wow.
But the CEO of UPS made $11 million, and they're not paying this guy enough. And I saw another report. It takes. I'm in California.
Right.
To rent a 2-bedroom apartment in California, you got to make $32 an hour.
Wow.
The minimum wage is 10. I mean, it's just out of whack. We're shrinking our middle class. And I'm in Oakland, and so all kinds of development going on. But there's thousands of homeless people 2 blocks away from my car dealership, and it's up and down the West Coast. Homelessness. It's like I've never seen it before in my entire life. So if we don't embrace the creation frequency, we don't move from our head to our heart, we don't get crystal clear what's really important, and it's not the latest flat screen TV, and it's not the latest iPhone, okay? It's about building family and love and values and trust and community. And if we don't get back to that, I don't think there's much hope for humanity.
I agree with you. Especially here in Canada, I walk down Yonge Street in downtown Toronto, and the number of homeless people. And the people that are at the corners when you come up to a stop. I remember the squeegee people. Well, they've been replaced by men in 3-piece suits holding up pieces of cardboard, saying, I'll take any job, any change. I have a family. Wow.
Yeah, and you've never seen that in your lifetime in Canada, have you?
No.
Yeah, it's exploding everywhere.
It is.
So
it seems that the rich are getting richer, and the poor, they don't count anymore.
But no, you just nailed it. They're not even real. They're just worthless food eaters, and that breaks my heart. And we need to change that. Those people are here's the problem. At least in America, they created this Bill of Rights that all men are created equal. No way, man.
No.
I'm born in America in 1957, white. Okay, and I could be born in America. I could be born in Mississippi, 1957, black. And you're gonna tell me we both have equal opportunity?
No.
No way. But here's what they should have written. All people should be treated equally. Okay, there's where we got to get back to.
Well, I think that when it came to whatever, up here in Canada, the Charter of Rights, and done in the United States, the different Bill of Rights and the amendments that you folks have, is that those people way back when they wrote these bills and these laws had no idea how bad it was going to be in the future. And those in power, seeing the way that they can seize these bills, these laws, and work them to their advantage, they don't want the changes to happen.
Yeah. And Rob, there's so much corruption in government. We didn't have that when I was growing up. If we did, it was well hidden. I mean, but now it's just in your face every night. I mean, how can I be watching Fox News and then switch to MSNBC? Same story, complete opposite spin. I mean, how can that be? Where's the integrity in journalism?
Well, there is none anymore. That's why years ago I decided to start my own networks, because I didn't want. I couldn't put up with the bull that the programmers or the station managers or the networks would want me to jump through hoops, and I just came to a point where I said, I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah. I mean, you're in the business. How do those people even look in the mirror when they're shaving? I don't know how they do it, honestly.
Neither do I. Hey, listen, our time is nearly up, but again, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and for helping all the people that you do. And let our listeners know how they can contact you and if they'd like to help out with either the Margot Foundation or if they'd like to help out with the, Mountains of Hope. How can they do that?
Yeah. So if you want to donate to Love for Margot, we'd really appreciate it. I promise you there's not a pure nonprofit in the world, and that's loveformargot.org. And then if you don't mind, I have a special offer for your listeners.
Sure.
If they go to Amazon and they can buy either the Kindle version of the book, The Creation Frequency, I think is $8.98, or the paperback is $12.96. If they buy a book and they just email proof of purchase to special offer, that's special offer at thecreationfrequency.com, we will give, and the course sells for $197, we'll give them free access to the Creation Frequency online course. And if they will just get the book, take the course, download the app, write some intentions, I promise them their life will get much better.
Well, it's already started to get better for those people who are listening today because they heard your message. And Mike, thank you so much for joining us, and take care of yourself. I look forward to the next time you and I meet here in the X Zone.
Thank you, Will.
X Zone Nation, Mike Murphy has been my guest, www.thecreationfrequency.com. What a guy. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And this man is part of the solution. But he needs your help. We need to all be part of the solution. Once again, his website is thecreationfrequency.com. We'll be back after this break at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell. Don't go away.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Are you or is someone you know struggling with addictions, depression, anxiety, relationships, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, grief, success, and prosperity? Do you know that your subconscious belief plays a big role in the outcome of your hard work? We can help you permanently change the beliefs that may be the reason for your struggles and failures. We care about getting you the return on your investment and the results you are looking for. We can help you be free of the limitations of your past and in realizing your highest potential. We work with people by phone and Skype. For more information, visit us at www.ritasoman.com. That's www.ritasoman.com. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464.